without further ado, I want to bring up and introduce, I've been so excited about today, specifically for this reason. We're about to bring 3 ladies up here who have done what I believe to be the impossible over the last couple years. 2 of them are ranked respectively number 10 and number 8 in all of Clark County in buy sides closed over the last 12 months, which is pretty crazy when you realize that there's 3,600 agents in town, and it's even more wild when you begin to realize that none of these ladies have been licensed for longer than 2 years. So in a season where a lot of us are struggling, they've found some ways to close some real business. And they're showing up today selflessly, willing to share some of their secrets with us, and let's get into it. So without further ado, I'm excited to welcome to the KFA stage for the very first time, Ali Kiemele, Hannah Dubyne, and Byrd.
Welcome to the winner's circle. If you made it here, it means you done put in the work, dude. Congratulations. You made it way past the basics. This goes for a massive celebration. Welcome to the winner's circle. We all winning here. We all winning here. We all welcome to the winner's circle. We all winning here. We all winning here. We all winning here. We all welcome to the winner's circle. I done paid dues.
Awesome. I am so excited that I get to interview these people. I'm Jacqueline Smith, and I got to spend some time with these ladies as we kind of prepped for this, and I got to learn about their business and their journey to get here. And I think sometimes when you think about a relationship, you know, in the beginning it's all fun and you're excited, and then you kind of go through some hard times and you're like, I don't know if I even like you. My husband's over there, but so we got to go on a trip recently to Utah and reconnect, and it got me thinking just about how I felt when I met with these ladies, and that it just kind of rekindled and made me excited about business again. And I hope that this is kind of like a little date day for your business, where you get to reconnect with, you know, why you started and remember those fun early times and get some fresh ideas and some fresh motivation and fresh wind for your business. So ladies, your mics are probably muted.
My husband and I came from a business and we used to say low tech, high check. So
there you go.
That's what we are today, low tech, high check.
Awesome. Well, I'm actually going to start with Ali. So do you want to introduce yourself? Just tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been in the business. And
my name is Ali Kiemele, and I've been a licensed realtor since June of last year. So I've been doing this for about 1 year. I previously had a background in the customer service industry, dealing cards at the A Casino for about 4.5, 5 years there. So I knew I wanted a different way to live my life, and I knew I wanted to add more value to those around me and those in my community. So I decided to start my journey into real estate and join Heather Manzi's real estate group, and it's been history ever since. So
awesome. And tell us what a day in the life of Ali looks like. What's your schedule like?
My schedule is usually kind of all over the place. If I'm not with clients, balancing showings and buyer tours and listing appointments, then I'll usually spend my time in the office. I'm pretty good about going to the office daily, if not, you know, most days of the week. If I'm not there a couple days out of the week, I'll definitely hit it on the weekend, but I usually balance like a 20 to 25 hour average calling hours per week. So hitting about 800 calls a week. Just making that my normal and my average, knowing what my numbers are and what I need to keep to make sure that I'm closing at least 2 deals a month.
Okay, so 20 to 25 hours just calling. Mm-hmm. How do you stay motivated? Like, tell us about your mindset and your approach, why you're so committed to that.
Well, first off, I get education twice a week. We get 2-hour team trainings, which are really great and helping me just rebrush up on my skills and polish my skill set. I've learned to be relentless solution focused. So, you know, if there's a no, I'm avoiding it. It's not like I don't take no for an answer really easily. So I've learned that from the best. But, you know, I think just really having a relentless solution focus, you know, they say no, try to work around that, try to come at a different angle, keep them on the phone for as long as I can, really making a friend and, you know, getting that follow-up call scheduled, getting that opportunity to have that follow-up call so I can create that nurture.
I love that. When we first met, you shared, I want to kind of back up a little bit because you shared with me your kind of bigger picture mindset, like coming from the casino into this business. and how you decided to structure your days and make this like a real career that you really focus on.
I knew that if I wanted to make this a career that I could have for the rest of my life and not go back to the casino, I knew that I needed to put just as much time into it as a 9-to-5 job. I know that coming from a 9-to-5 gig, if you only go to work 3 days of the week out of 5, you're not going to get paid for the following 2. So, you only get paid for what you put in. And I know that I wanted to treat it like a 9-to-5. I've heard of people going into the office at 9 a.m., leaving at 5 p.m. I might get there at noon, but I'm leaving at 8:30, 9 o'clock sometimes, just in preparation for tomorrow. But I really do treat it like an active, job that I have to put in 40 hours a week in. Otherwise, I'm not committing myself. And I made sure to make that the regular right off the bat, because if not, then, it would just feel like I'm kind of high and low, flip-floppy. And I really wanted to commit myself and make sure that, I'm putting in that effort and energy to make it a career.
So your hours might fluctuate or be different, but you're putting them in regardless.
Yeah, definitely. If I'm like missing calling on a Tuesday and missing our training, then I'll definitely be calling all day on Saturday.
I love that. You're on like casino hours still.
Never stops.
So what are the metrics? You kind of started to touch on the metrics that you track in your business. You said that you do 2 closings a month. So what other things are you tracking to know whether or not you're on track or not?
I track my calling hours. I track how many dials I've made, how many pickups I've had, how many nurtures or good conversations that I had, how many appointments I've made, buyer and listing, and then how many closings, how many offers I've written. Usually doing this on a weekly tracking basis. We get about every month I'll get like my sync review. So this is how I know my numbers so thoroughly, not only because I'm doing them weekly, but because I get my monthly reviews that show me, this is where you're at, this is what your highs are, this is a low month. So I know what my averages are and what I need to stick to if I want to make those numbers and churn it out.
Okay, so what's your weekly appointment set goal?
6.
6 appointments set?
Yes.
What's your weekly contact goal?
200.
Conversations? 200 conversations? Is anyone having 200 conversations a week? What's your favorite script right now to set an appointment with a buyer or seller?
That's a great question. Right now, I'm calling 800, 1,200-day-old leads, and I'll say, hi, my name's Ali. I'm a local realtor in your area. I was just curious if you had any plans on buying or selling this year. And if they say no, then I'll say, great, do you own your own house? And if they say no, I'll say, why not? And if they say yes, then I'll offer them a free professional home evaluation. Just kind of, following off what they're saying to me and really just extending it, asking them those questions to dig deeper, I think are really important. Don't ask the questions that are just going to get shut down. Even though I did just ask 2 questions that got shut down quickly, I move around that very quickly and don't pay much mind to it.
Okay. And do you script practice?
We have scripts we follow, but I mean, just smiling and dialing. I do have like something on my wall where it's basically like my 5-star questions. So the number 1 question is, I see that you're looking in Vancouver. Are you looking anywhere else? And then they'll give me the answer. And then I'll say, well, can you tell me a little bit what about you're looking for? And then they'll give me that answer. And then I'll say, have you met with a lender? Do you know your ideal price range? Then they'll tell me that. And then I'll say, do you have to sell a home, buy a home, or like, are you a first-time home buyer? Do you have to sell before you purchase? And then the 5th question is probably just, making that appointment with the lender or getting them out on a tour or getting that home evaluation.
I love that. What advice would you give if someone hasn't really made phone calls or spent much time on the phone and isn't working, making 200 contacts a week? How do they get started? What would you do first?
Just do it. Just get on the phone. Just start dialing. The first one's always the hardest one, but, make their, create initiative for you to be able to call, because I pack snacks, I pack a full day's lunch. I'm definitely in there for the long haul. When I go to the office, I'm staying in, I'm locking in. That's my time to really just grind it out. So, just starting. The first call is always the hardest, but then before you realize it, you're 6 hours in and you've made 150 calls. And I double dial every call.
Double dial. Mm-hmm. So what's that?
They don't answer on the first call, and I call right back.
Dang, girl.
Because spam callers won't call twice. I'm not a spam caller. I actually want to talk to them, so.
I love that.
Yeah.
I remember hearing when I first started, and I had it on a sticky note next to my computer, and it said, if you do it, meaning lead generation, you will beat 99% of people, even if you suck at it. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of my motivation, because I was horrible, but you get good, right? You just have to start.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say the repetition of doing it every single day, creating that kind of, I know what I need to hit during the conversation. If I can make an easy guideline or outline of what I need to cover during the conversation and put some kind of flow onto it, and also adding personalization, make the client laugh on the phone. Write down, I'm taking notes on every single conversation, and if they say, oh my God, my dog, sorry, I got to put him away, I'm asking what kind of dog they have. I have a dog too. He's actually my assistant. And anything I can do to make them laugh or, keep them on the phone a little bit more, build deeper rapport, so.
I love that you have fun with it. Awesome.
You've got to.
Yeah. And we're going to have Q&A, you guys, after we talk to all three ladies. So if you have questions, just write them down. If you want to ask Ali some more about how she does the phone calling, let us know. All right, next, Hal.
Hi.
Hi. Tell us a bit about yourself and your business.
My name's Hal Byrd. About myself, I wanted to get into real estate since I was 16. I actually took my first real estate class at 16. I was a junior in high school, driving over to night classes at the community college this is going to embarrass some of you guys, sorry, in 2007. And then 2008 happened, and I graduated high school in 2009, and I was like, maybe not a good time to get into real estate. Let me go to college and see what happens on the other end, which actually was bad advice, but I didn't have a mentor in real estate to tell me, hey, this is actually a great time to get started. So I wish I would have started then, but got licensed 12 years later, got a bachelor's degree that I don't really do anything with from a great university. I went to Loyola Marymount, their entrepreneurship program, it's the top program in the country. And then I met my husband 10 years ago, and we decided to relocate up here 5 years ago, and I've been licensed for 2 years now.
And what did you do before you got licensed?
Oh, before I got licensed, I had all sorts of businesses. I had a reselling business. I was a travel agent for a time. I worked for a yoga company called Manduka in their international sales department. So my 20s were very filled with exploration and trying new things and figuring out where. And towards the latter part of my 20s, I decided to come back to real estate. And I was like, this is what I wanted to do in high school. I might as well do it now. That was in 2020, so it's a fun time to get involved.
I hear that so much from people, that real estate's something I've always wanted to do, and for some reason we take a while to get here sometimes.
Yeah, it was a longer journey.
Awesome. So you have a very different approach than Ali for your business. So tell us about that.
So I am very not structured and scheduled. I have parameters, but I don't start my day at any one time. I don't have like a set number of dials. I don't dial at all. So we had a good kick when we were first meeting, because it was like polar opposites between Ali and I. So what I do is I took some things from my past businesses and kind of tweak them for real estate. So one of the things I use is a weekly tracker. I call it my icon tracker. I'm with EXP, I'm an icon agent, and that's what I use to track achieving icon status, which is like a production level that you get an award for. So I use that icon tracker, and it really tracks what I call my DMOs. So if you guys aren't taking notes, I would whip out your phones now, your pencils, and write this down, because I have a couple acronyms for you. So DMO is daily method of operation. Those are the daily activities that I do that make sure that I'm hitting my goals. So even though I'm not focused on like I need to do a certain activity for a certain amount of time, as long as I hit those metrics, then I'm on track. And I choose those metrics, my daily method of operation, based on my MMAs, my money-making activities. And for me, those are creating content, Zooms, so scheduling Zooms with people who are relocating, and then meeting with them when they're visiting in person. So everything I do is based off how do I get to meet more people in person when they're traveling, how do I schedule more Zooms and put up more content. Other than that, sometimes I start my day at 5:30 with my husband, who's dedicated to the 5 a.m. club, and yesterday I woke up at 8:30 and he's been up for hours, so I'm very laid back in my approach when it comes to schedule.
Awesome. And what is your main source of business?
YouTube,
And
definitely.
Why'd you choose YouTube?
I chose YouTube because, like I said, I relocated here, and I didn't really have a sphere of influence. I'm an introvert, I'm a bit of a homebody. I can't be out peopling all day as much as I love you guys, and I'm really excited to get to meet you all after and speak with you guys. I will probably need a day and a half to recover from being here. So I really couldn't do anything that required me to talk to a huge volume of people. I would get burnt out. It wasn't in line with who I am and how I'm wired. So not having a big sphere of influence, I'm like, okay, I can go to all my friends that I know and I can be that agent that's like putting all this pressure on the few friends that I did have when I moved here that already knew 10 agents, and I'm like, hey, I'm a brand new agent, I need you, and I was like, I don't want to put that pressure on my friends. I don't want to be that agent. Has anyone been afraid of being that agent? Like putting pressure on your friends? Like I have literally no care if my friends choose to use me or not. I'm honored if they do, but if they don't, it literally doesn't faze me. So lack of SOI was one of the reasons that I chose YouTube, being an introvert. And then I think the biggest one was being the resource that I wish that I had when we moved here. Because when I relocated 5 years ago, realtors weren't really on YouTube. And so shame on you if you've been licensed for more than 5 years. Because there are 2 videos I remember watching when we were relocating. And one was of some random couple driving around Vancouver Mall. I didn't even see the mall. I just saw like trees through the back of their car. And the other was someone walking across I-5 bridge. And so I said, I knew when I relocated, I really wanted resources and information about the place that I was moving, and I didn't have access to it. So I decided to be that access for people.
I love that. So tell us how you got started.
I got started with a 10-year-old laptop. My laptop was like on its last leg, and a cell phone. And that's like, I think the easiest part. Like a lot of people make it, oh, like what equipment do I need, and how do I edit the videos, and like all the stuff that's Googleable. And I would probably focus more on asking yourself, how do I make myself get started? Because I think every agent that I've talked to that wants to do YouTube and isn't doing YouTube right now is bogged down by fear. Fear of how they look, fear of how they sound, of how to edit, of what to post and what to say, and do I need a script? Do I need an outline? Like, do I just freestyle? Like, what do I do? And I think it really comes back to like fear of looking foolish. When Dayton texted me and he's like, hey, I want you to speak on this panel, I'm like, do I really want to do that? Like, and if Larry wasn't mentioned in that text, I definitely wouldn't be here, so thanks, Larry. I think fear of looking foolish is the biggest thing. We're afraid of what other people will think of us, and the sooner that you can get over that and like feel the fear and just do it anyway, post it, I think that's how you get started, is getting over the fear.
I think that's the same even with what you were sharing, Ali, right? It's always fear that's holding us back. And then I always think of the quote, we complicate things to justify our inaction. And it is scary to put yourself out there. So how did you conquer that fear for yourself?
Well, I kind of let myself off the hook in the sense that people always ask me, like, well, should I post it on my Facebook? Should I share it on Instagram? Do I need to email it? And it's like, no. One of the best things about these platforms is their algorithms. Like, let YouTube or whatever platform you choose, TikTok, Instagram, let their algorithm do that work for you. Like, you don't have to promote it. Just post it and pretend that it's not there. Like, you'd have to pay me to watch my first video, but it's still up there and people still watch it. I'm like, oh, it has hundreds of views now, when probably like the first 6 months it maybe got 20.
It's gonna get like 100 more now after today. Don't look it up now. Pay attention. So you got started in YouTube. What was your measurable, or what were you? So you make a post. What then?
Then I'm thinking about the next video. It was really for me when I decided to do YouTube. So when I got started, no sales my first 9 months. The following 9 months did 13 million in volume, 25 transactions. So it was literally, and in the background, like if you see that, you're like, okay, I have no results for this period of time, and then it's like the complete opposite, and you'd be like, oh, it happened overnight. Not really, because during the last 6 months of those 9 months, that's when I started YouTube. And so I just told myself, no matter what happens, I'm not even gonna look at the results. I'm only gonna focus on posting 1 video a week. I'm gonna marry that process, and I'm gonna divorce myself from the results. Whether or not I sell homes has nothing to do with if I post videos. I post videos because I post videos, and I sell houses because I sell houses. I don't marry them together in my mind, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so you're committed to the process, and your process was posting 1 video per week.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. How did you, did you have some mindset things come up for you in that 9 months when you weren't getting any sales and you weren't seeing any results?
It's gonna sound weird, but not really. I wasn't shaky because I really started with the end in mind. So I was like, I'm not just a realtor, I'm building a relocation business. And I'm not, again, posting for any direct result, I'm posting for a long-term view. So I'm not putting this video up because I want to go viral, or because, I heard someone say, if you post this video, it'll get 1,000 views, or whatever the case is. I wasn't trying to hack my way through it. So I just knew, long-term, ask yourself, well, I know in my household, YouTube is the #1 watch channel. There's always YouTube going on in the background. And if you have kids, I'm sure that's the case too, right? Is anyone else YouTube #1 channel in their house? It's a good amount of hands. And what do we go on YouTube for? My husband watches car washing videos, and literally how to wash the car. He's obsessed with it. Sorry, dear. Mountain bike videos. I watch videos about losing my COVID weight. About cooking. We're just always on YouTube to learn. And when people are relocating, I know that's where I went. And so I didn't really get too bogged down with it, because I felt like nobody can tell me YouTube doesn't work. And anything works, really. There's on the GSD podcast, he always says, everything works, nothing doesn't. Doing nothing doesn't work. So I didn't have any doubts about YouTube. It was a long-term view. It's evergreen. So once I post a video, it's there working for me 24/7. There are probably people watching my videos right now, even though I'm not actively on the phone. Nothing against cold calling or door knocking, but the second I knock on that door, if I leave, there's no opportunity for me to recapture that unless I go back to that same door. But on YouTube, if someone is searching for Vancouver and they don't click on my video the first time, maybe they come back to it in a month from now. Maybe they watch it over and over again. Maybe they binge my whole channel and call me, and I hear my voice on the other end of the phone when I answer. I'm like, why am I hearing myself? And they pause it. They're like, oh, I was just watching you. So that evergreen aspect of it was the most appealing, and I was like, I just knew it was going to work.
I have to admit that I did go and binge some of your videos after we met. And you're very natural. You seem so comfortable. So were you always that way? How can we help the audience just get started and know that it's a process?
I would say grab your sister, your husband, your best friend, and have them stand on the other side of the camera. Or if you have nobody, just act like you're talking to someone you care about. And don't look at the camera, look past the camera, and just talk like I'm talking to you now, like you're gonna talk to me at the end of this thing. It's just having a conversation and not making it about being on video. If you think about it, and if you go back and watch it, it's harder. But making it a conversation, and then just like being on the phone, you do it enough times, you get more comfortable with it, and even if you suck, like you said, you'll get better.
Yeah. And don't watch them.
Don't watch them.
Thank you. All right, Miss Hannah,
Hi.
you want to introduce yourself and tell us about your business and what you did before real estate?
Sure. I'm Hannah Dubyne. I grew up in Lake Stevens, Washington, north of Seattle. And then I went to school at Wazoo Pullman for 3 years. I graduated in 2021, which for those of you doing the math, that was just 2 years ago. And then I moved here 2 years ago. So I've been licensed for a little bit more than 2 years. And I decided to become a realtor because I wanted to just do my own thing. And I saw a lot of realtors down here, and I was like, man, I feel like I could just come in, be myself, and do a great job. And so, yeah, I've had a lot of progress in the last 2 years.
Yeah, you have. How many deals did you close last year? Just in case people don't know.
Last year was my first full calendar year, and I served 30 families.
Give her a round. So tell us, what was your mindset coming into the business?
Okay, so my mindset coming into the business, I feel like this was a very important piece of my success. I really burned all my bridges, and I just said I have to succeed. There's no other route. I didn't have a part-time job. I didn't plan on having a fallback. I didn't look into other career paths. And I made sure that everyone knew that I was a realtor and I was going to be a professional. I wasn't just like, ooh, throw me a deal because I'm new. I came here and I rented a 3-bedroom house with 2 other girls because I was 21 at the time and didn't have a ton of money. And I just had my office in the corner of my bedroom and I made it work.
Awesome. And what are your main sources of business?
Today, my main sources of business are open houses, door knocking, my videos and my online presence, my sphere and repeat clients now, and then agent referrals.
Awesome. So when you and I spoke, I kind of found it funny that we started with Ali and Hal, and then you were kind of a combination of
Yes.
like what you kind of coined like old school and new school. So tell us more about that.
Yeah, I thought that was really funny too, and we all had a good laugh about that. I believe in that very strongly for my business, and I do the old school things and I do the new school things. And I really think the agent of the future, the one that's going to be around for 10 or 20 years, has to do both at some point. Because like Hal was saying, like evergreen content is so important. It's an actual stat that my videos are watched every minute of every day. 24/7, someone is watching me somewhere online. Like, I can't prospect 24/7, but I also love door knocking and holding open houses and getting face-to-face with people. So having both of those come together, like, creates even more momentum.
So I shared with you that I do not like door knocking, but you had an approach to door knocking that I absolutely love. So will you share that?
Sure.
Just your mindset around it?
Yeah, it's really simple. So this is what I started doing when I first moved here, and I literally didn't know anyone, guys. Like, all I knew was my boyfriend's family. I would go every day, and I would preview properties. So I'd book a couple showings, 3 or 4 every day of the week. And then I would just go talk to the neighbors, and I would say, hey, I have a client who might be interested in the house for sale down the road, which wasn't a lie. I might have a client who is interested, right? What do you think about the neighborhood? That's it. I wasn't asking them for anything, and they just would really let their guard down. Obviously, not everyone was receptive, but a lot of people, they would just start talking, and they'd say, oh, yeah, we're thinking about selling, or that person is, or whatever. And I would mark the good conversations that I had, and I would go find their information. I would backtrack it on Forewarn, an app you can use to find homeowner information. I'd get their phone numbers, I'd get their mailing address, and add them to my mailing list. And I'd send them a thank you card afterwards and say, thanks for having a conversation with me, it meant a lot. And I've gotten a handful of listings that way just because I've followed up with them for 2 years, and it's not taken a lot of effort.
Awesome. So tell us about your schedule or like your cadence every week. What are your activities that you do?
I'm definitely more regimented. I'm kind of a little bit of a tightwound person, so I wake up and I get to my office usually sometime between 8 and 8:30 on the weekdays, and then I try and hit the hot sheets really quickly and see what's new on the market, especially in my farm areas, my target areas. And then from 9 to 11, my goal is to be following up with the people in my database, to be calling people, emailing, texting, not current pending clients, but people that are down the road. And so that's my main goal. I have a little sticker on my office door that says, don't bother me from 8 to 11, no exceptions. So don't bother me from 8 to 11. I gave Dayton some pushback on this event, even being in the morning. And then And then I have lunch, and usually for a couple hours around lunchtime, I might be doing some business development or working on a project, and then the afternoon is my appointment time.
Awesome. So you have some things that you send out every week. Tell us about your email lists and things like that. And your
Yes, I do a weekly email. It's called Weekend Happenings with Hannah. Got to give it a fun name. One thing I figured out in this business is things don't just become a big deal. You have to like make them a big deal. So I just made it a name, and I made it like, hey guys, this is really cool. You should sign up for it. And I just put out fun events happening in the area, and I put a new listing down at the bottom. I'll put my video for the week on that email, and it's a great way to touch people in my sphere. And email marketing is one of the best converting tools. Agents don't like to use it for some reason, but it's been very successful, just getting in people's inbox every week.
So weekly email, open houses.
Open houses, yep.
Door knocking.
Door knocking, yep. I'll door knock around things that homes that I show, or my listings.
And then videos.
And videos, yep. I post every day on Instagram, every week on YouTube, every week on Google, Facebook, everywhere. My goal is to be everywhere. I have a weekly mailer. I'm on email. Like, I want my sphere to think that I'm everywhere.
And you are.
I am.
So tell us about, you were really, really focused on becoming a subject matter expert, which I really respect. You put actual effort and time and intentionality into becoming a true professional in the business. So what are the things that you did to do that?
Yeah, this is one of the things that I think realtors really need to work on, especially new realtors. I came in and I didn't know anything about the area. Like, literally, I would open my road map every day in Eastern Washington and try and learn the roads. But when I got here, since I didn't have a lot of clients, I was doing the property previews, and I was also learning about the area. So I'd go drive to neighborhoods that I wanted to sell, drive around them, what are the houses like, what's the park like, what's going on in the neighborhood, and then I'd go on the GIS. The GIS is one of the best tools that we have. We have a very comprehensive one, too, compared to other counties, and I could find out so much about the subdivisions in there. And now I can say very confidently, I know more about subdivisions and Camas than probably most agents in the area, just because I spent time on there researching who built the neighborhood, how many sales have there been, what have the sales been like, is there HOA litigation, are there parks, and that's really what people are looking for in a local agent that knows the area.
And did you do that in the afternoons then? Or when do you focus
Gosh,
on driving?
my schedule has gotten more strict as I've gotten more busy. So I had more flexibility in the early days. I can't really remember when I did it, but just put it in there somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then you talked to me about who you surrounded yourself with and the environment that you were intentional about creating.
Yeah.
So let's share that with the audience.
Okay, so this is another big piece, I feel like, to me having a successful start, which is I got in the right group from the beginning. I joined a coaching group, which, there's many out there, and it's a big national one that's very well known. Best agents really in the entire country. Many of them are making over $1 million a year in GCI. And so just being in that room and getting feedback from those people, it helped me level up, because it's not like everyone in Clark County is making $1 million in GCI.
Yeah, and I think too, we've seen it just in this market, right? Our mindset's contagious, whether it's positive or not.
Exactly.
And who you surround yourself really does matter.
Exactly. And I tried not to splinter myself off in too many directions. I think that agents these days, we have so many resources. It's not like we don't have enough resources. It's like we have too many and they all want our attention. Instead, I put all of my attention into that group, and I was always in their trainings, and I was always networking with their people, going to their events, and it's paid off a lot.
Awesome. Anything else you want to add that we didn't talk about?
Just get started. Be on video, be consistent with what you do. I'm very consistent, and that's been a big key to my success.
Awesome. That's one of the things, you guys heard that right from all three, that they all have different approaches, but you guys are super consistent with what you've chosen to focus on. And that's the key, right? It's like you said, everything works. And nothing doesn't. Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing. We're going to open it up for Q&A. So who has some questions? And we'll get some mic runners. Dayton? Okay.
I just tell people to text me. So my call to action is to text because it's a very low barrier for people. And then depending on what I'm doing, even if they text me, I just call them. Like if I see a text, I call them. So I'm just trying to get, I like to get people's email, but I want their phone number first. Because it's very easy to ignore emails. It's harder to ignore texts and calls. So I just have people text me, and then that part's pretty manual for me. If there's a system out there to capture people's attention, captures people's information, then I would love that. But really, it's just about the call to action, and I do that in the beginning of my video and at the end.
So this one's for Ali. Ali, where do you get your 800 numbers to call a week?
I have a database of about 1,000 leads given to me by my team, and I would say 200 of those are people that I have created relationships with over time over the last 6 to 8 months, could be 2 months. The other maybe 800 of those leads are older leads that have been thrown away previously. They've signed onto our website maybe 1,000 days ago, and I just call them up like they signed on yesterday and ask, if they have any needs or anything like that. But it all comes from my team, which is the great part about being on a team, is just getting all these hot leads. I consider them hot leads, warm leads. It's never cold calling for me, so. I will cut out usually an hour and a half of my day to go through maybe 50 follow-up calls that I need to make these touches to reconnect or have that follow-up conversation with, and then the other, 6 hours of the day I'll spend just doing new lead gen with older leads.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Hal, what is your follow-up process after, someone texts you, and what is the average kind of time to market for those leads that you're getting? So, you've been at this a while now, so I'm just curious, once that occurs, they text you, what happens next, and how are you, what sort of follow-up system do you have after that occurs? How do those conversations go?
So I don't think that it's anything special. I think it's probably the most generic answer. So I will text them. If they're not if they don't answer, then I'll just text them back. Normally, the thing about YouTube is that when people usually aren't contacting me after they've watched just one video, so they already feel like they know, like, and trust me. So a lot of times they give me a lot of information in terms of, like an example, I had a client who messaged me from Florida, and he, his wife, and their daughter, and the parents want to buy new construction, so that's 2 transactions. And so I just text. I try to get them on a Zoom. My goal is just to get them on the Zoom. So if I have to text, call, get them on a Zoom, and then at that point it's more about having a casual conversation. So I would say my first step is that casual conversation. Could be on the phone, could be on Zoom. Just trying to find out what they're trying to accomplish. Because I'm not getting on the phone to sell myself, because they're calling me because they want to work with me. I don't have to chase them. Like, I wanted to create a business where people are chasing me, where they're like, can you take me on? Like, do you have space in your calendar? Like, the amount of edification or like the positioning that you put yourself in on YouTube it's kind of insane. Like, I realized it when one of my clients, his kids were like, oh my gosh, that's Hal, because they watch me on TV. And like, I'm like, it's just me. Like, but to them, there's like, I don't know, kind of a celebrity effect. So my follow-up process is get them on a Zoom, do a really casual conversation, and then I have what I call a Washington purchase process meeting, which is where I go, like, I do what would be like a buyer consult, go over all the forms, especially because even if people have bought and sold homes in other states, Washington is different. And so kind of explain the difference, buying here. And most of my clients are buy side, like 90%. I've done, last year, 17 million one listing.
Thanks, ladies, for sharing all your tips and tricks that we can copy. Hannah, you and I had coffee several years ago, so congratulations on all your success. I have a question, though, for you, how you're managing all your social media channels, because I feel like that's the full-time job if you're posting all the content and all these videos, and so that's my question for you.
Good to see you. Thanks for asking. I am managing all myself right now, which is probably bad. I am at close to a breaking point where I need an assistant. But I'm young, and so I feel like I have a knack for it, and I've kind of grown up on social media, so I don't know, I just make it work somehow. It's all kind of compartmentalized in my head. I would say for those of you who are looking to start, don't overwhelm yourself by trying to be everywhere first. Just start somewhere and then go from there. I hope that helps.
Thanks to my wonderful back office manager, Sam, I've learned to use Facebook Meta Suite or Business Suite. That has been really helpful in planning out my monthly posts. You can basically go in there, spend a good 4 hours of your day, maybe a Monday, Marketing Monday, get all your posts for the month, and then it'll just generate and post whenever you so decide. That's a really good tool that I have been using to just stay active, because I don't want to spend that time every day posting. I just might as well spend a couple hours one single day and then, get out with clients the rest of my week.
I will say that I batch a lot of my videos. Obviously, I can't batch like listing videos. The listing comes on when the listing comes on. But I do a lot of like talking head videos where I'll just tell a story or I'll give some sort of advice. I sit in my office once a month and I film those. Same with my YouTube videos, my market updates. I do that all once a month. Sometimes I'll change shirts, but usually people don't notice that you wear the same shirt for a month in a row, so it's true.
So silly. It's so true.
Any other questions?
I have a question, and I first want to congratulate all of you for your success. Super impressive, super inspirational. This is a two-parter, so I know it's not polite, but I'm looking around and there's a lot of, I think all the generations might be covered in here. So just for context, if you guys don't mind sharing your age, just relative to your success, I think that might motivate some folks here. And then part two would be, do you have a favorite quote? I find quotes like super empowering and informational. So age and a favorite quote if you have it.
I am 25 years old, and my favorite quote is, "A smooth sea never made a skilled sailor." I hear a lot of people talking about the rates and how this market is a really difficult and tumultuous market. I know no other market. This is the only market that I know, and to be thriving in it, I'm really happy with that. But it's because, the seas have been rougher to help, push me further with my skill set and knowledge.
I'm 23, and I would probably need more time to think of my very favorite quote, but one that always comes to mind that Tom Ferry says is, "Do the things, have the power." So I try to do the things every day that bring me a real estate business, and I have the power.
I am 31 years old, and I won't give you, I guess, my absolute favorite quote. It might not be relevant. It's just the mark of an educated mind is to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. I don't think people think enough. Might be a little political. But I think my favorite quote related to business is probably from Jim Rohn, which goes something like, it's from a speech that he did, and it goes something like, at any point in time you can change things, so the next 3 months can be completely different than the last 3 months. So if you've had a really tough start to 2023, the end of 2023 can be completely different, and that's kind of what I did, going from no transactions the first 9 months to my first full year doing just under 10 million, second year doing 17 million, and then this year my business is up 25% year over year.
Hey guys. Hey. It's been fun to watch you guys rise through the ranks the last couple of years, so I love having you guys on the stage. This is amazing content. Starting off on YouTube, I know there's a lot of people in here that probably want to start off on YouTube. Can you talk a little bit about the equipment that you started off with, and maybe how your equipment has evolved or changed as your content has grown over the last couple of years?
Do you want to go first or me? Okay. I started with I don't even know what phone I had at the time. My husband buys my phone. He likes shopping for tech, and he's like, you should get a new phone. I'm like, I'm attached to this one. So whatever phone I had at the time, which was probably like a Samsung Note something or other, like a relatively recent one. I don't even know what phone I have right now. It's a Samsung Note something or other. And then I had my laptop. But when I started creating the videos, I was editing on my phone, which I absolutely hated because it's so small. So then I tried to transition to my 10-year-old laptop, which didn't work very well for video editing. And so then I upgraded my laptop. You definitely, if you're gonna edit your own videos and like take it seriously, then you probably want more RAM. But you can do it on your phone too. So it's like you can start very low barrier. I don't even know if I might have had a tripod at the time and like stacked books and whatever Amazon boxes were around to get it to the right height. So like very low tech. And now that's my camera right there. Again, I don't know what it is. I just know how to barely use it, how to hit record and swap the lenses. Like I said, low tech, high check. So I'm like, what's the lowest barrier to entry? And I wanted to improve my video quality, and so I bought whatever. What camera is that? An A7C. Is that Sony? Sony A7C, which is like a mid-tier camera. So this might be more information than anyone needs, but you don't need it. Like, you really don't. Sometimes even I have the fancy camera, and I still sometimes record on my phone. I'm like, it's just easier.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on the same page. I have a very simple setup. I have a camera. It's a Canon M50, I believe, mirrorless. I had an entry-level lens for a while when I didn't have as much money, and then I bought a nicer one, which still wasn't that much. It was maybe $300 or $400. And I have a basic tripod. I have a little mic set. Mic set, so important. If people can't hear you well, they're gonna click off of any video anywhere. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I also have a mic, and I want to add, like, one of the things that got me to invest more, and when you mentioned you started with not a lot of money, I also started with not a lot of money, and then I realized when I did the math, how much have I made in commissions based on how many videos I put out, and I was like, that's how much each video makes me, and so it was a no-brainer at that point, as cheap as I am, to be like, let me upgrade my equipment. So, and we have the DJI mics. I'm actually wearing it now. That's what it looks like. I was consistent first.
Hal, I got a question for you. Could you touch on your Facebook group a little bit and how you utilize that as a capture from YouTube and what that looks like as far as how big you've grown it?
Yeah, so my husband, when we relocated, we were in a group called Temecula Talk in Temecula, California, and everybody in the town was in this group. Like, in a town of 100,000 people, I think there were 70,000 people in the group. And so when we got here and there was nothing really like that here, we decided to create it. So we have Vancouver Talk now. I encourage all of you to join. It's open to any realtors, and you can post about your business every Monday. So if you want to get clients out of that group, go for it. So we grew it. Now it's about 4,000 people, and I put in all of my YouTube videos. If you want to learn more about like the area from locals, you can join the group. And then I have a questionnaire in the beginning of the group, and so it says like, where did you hear about Vancouver Talk? And so I know the people that are coming from YouTube. And then it says, do you live in Southwest Washington, or are you relocating here, and from where? Because sometimes people are relocating, but they didn't come from YouTube. So I've picked up clients that way. Because again, I run my real estate business as a relocation business. So I help local clients, but it's not really on purpose. It just happens that way. But yeah, so it's a community group. So people can't post things they have for sale. It's non-political. It's more like water cooler talk in terms of like what's going on and people complaining about it's any old thing. You can join it. It's I'll let you guys all in. But yeah.
Sweet. Anybody else with last questions? Oh, that's a lot of people. You guys are gonna have to fight for it. Okay, Mike. Your name is Mike.
I have a mantra on Pandora that I listen to, not Pandora, Spotify that I listen to every single morning, and it's like VYBO, money manifestation, and it's just basically a repeating track to a beat that says, you know, I am rich, I am wealthy, I do what others won't so I can live how others can't. I know I've been taught to do it in the morning, do it at night. I listen to it on the way to listing appointments. I listen to it on the way to the office. Just instilling those positive manifestation and those positive thoughts in my mind. It's really important because, you know, it's different, and you know, to gather the confidence to make a call to somebody that you don't know is a little nerving, but I mean, dive into the fear, embrace the fear, because that's where growth is most prevalent. So I really just think that podcast or song, I listen to it. It's kind of goofy, but I love it. It works.
Ali is much better at calls than I am. She hits it way more than I do. But usually when I'm calling people and following up or even door knocking, I just think about if I'm not going to help these people, who will? I think about some of my door knocking clients. They've been older, and I think about how they could have, you know, someone could have taken advantage of them, and in many cases they almost have been taken advantage of. So they need my services, and if I really believe in my services and I'm doing a great job, then it's helping them if I follow up.
I have a question for Ali. My office is next to yours, and I always ask you for advice. And the one thing I get from you a lot is you got that hustle, like energy. So my question is, how do you not burn out?
I do. Everyone will experience it, but the goal is to minimize the highs and lows. You know, some months will be really, really hot and awesome with buyers and listings and business. And some months, you know, might not be as hot, but if you can minimize those highs and lows, knowing that this is your career and you have to treat it like that. If you want to get the money to live a healthy life and to thrive, you know, you have to put in the work, you have to put in the hours, and you just have to start. You know, if you stop, just start again.
Hi, good morning. I'm sure you work with a few loan officers, and I'm just curious, how many loan officers does each of you work with, and how do you select your loan officers? And also, where do you see your business with the mortgages, the interest these days? Are there any concerns in regards of your business due to the rates these days?
I don't know any other market than what was prevalent last June until now, so this is my normalcy. I'm under the understanding that in the 80s, rates were as high as 18, 19%, and they were making much less money per hour than we are now. I know that the key to generational wealth is through homeownership and through investing in real estate. So my loan officers and my lenders are provided to me by my team. I joined a team with a really great working relationships with a couple different lenders, Devin being one of my favorite guys in the world. So yeah, it's, you know, I think this market, if you connect on hate, especially with a client, then you're gonna kill the close. You have to defer, and you have to get their mind off of that, and you have to, you know, basically objection handle every single day and relentless solution focus. You know, if they say, oh, rates are too high, well, you don't want to wait a couple more years when they're even higher. You know, you can always refinance. You just have to get around those objections and keep it light, keep positivity. I really think every phone call, you have to build excitement and make them excited for their own future and keep that dream alive, because otherwise, you know, it is pretty dreary right now. The news is filled with doom and gloom, and you just have to let them know that, you know, our market area is so different than the rest of the country and so diverse that, you know, we're rising. We're still a really awesome market to be in, to buy and sell, you know, although the rest of the country might not be. It doesn't matter. It's not Clark County. Clark, Cowlitz, Lewis, Wahkiakum, Skamania. All of them.
So I work primarily with 2 lenders. One of them is in the room, so shout out to Hans Bruner with Byrd Financial. I met him in my Facebook group, actually, because we have something called Merchant Monday. That's where we allow any business, any local business, shout out to the sponsors that are here, please post your business. We wanted to create a group that supported local business. So anyway, he saw my post, he reached out to me, we went to coffee. I was a new agent, and he was not a new lender, and that mattered to me because I felt like anything where I lacked experience, I didn't necessarily want to work with a new lender. So if you're a experienced lender, target new agents because they don't have their favorites that they have relationships with. And then the second lender that I work with came to me through a client who was using the Washington bond, and they were between 2 lenders, and the client asked me to interview both of them, and one of them blew me away and the other didn't. And I'm very loyal to the 2 of them. I would say, because I trust them, I don't have to follow up with them. They do a great job. I never have to worry about anything. And for me, like, that's the most valuable thing. And, you know, clients can bring their own lenders, of course, but I go pretty hard for my 2 lenders. And then in terms of the rates, going back to, I don't look at myself as a salesperson. I'm not a real estate salesperson. I help people relocate. So if people are like, well, the rates are too high, I'm going to wait. I'm like, okay, like, that's your decision to make. And the conversation that I have with people is I give them stories. I tell stories. So I give them examples, and I give examples of, hey, I had a client who just bought, and this is why it made sense for their situation to buy. So if you relate to their situation, and obviously I'm trying to pair them up with a situation that mirrors theirs, so I'm not going to talk about retired folks to a first-time home buyer that's in their 20s. But I try to tell stories, and I say, my clients that are buying right now, this is why it makes sense to them. They can afford the payment, and they plan to refinance if, I never say when, if the rates go down. And I let people make their own decisions. Everyone's adults, and I don't feel like I need to handhold or convince anyone. People are going to do what they want to do, and I'm just there to support them, whatever they decide.
I have a handful of lenders that I will do business with, and of course, it's always the client's choice. I have one that handles almost all of my buyer clients. Her name is Hannah, too, so we're the Hannahs. It's a great marketing pitch. She's the most talented mortgage broker I've ever met. She spent 10 years at Fisher Investments, and so she really gets the nitty-gritty behind it, and I found a lot of lenders don't. She's also a great people person, which I find a lot of lenders, they're a people person, but they don't understand everything about the mortgages, or they understand the mortgages, but they can't connect. And so she does both, and I'm very loyal to her. We have offices next to each other. And then for the market, I'm always staying abreast of the market. I want to be the knowledge broker and inform my clients of what's going on, whether it's up or down or somewhere in between. But I really block out the noise of, like, oh, business is going down because of interest rates or the economy or whatever. Like, I do not partake in that at all, because people need good service no matter what the market's doing. That is 100% a fact. And when the market, if it goes down, like, I will take market share because I'm not slowing down.
All right, we're going to switch gears. I so appreciate you ladies. You guys are so amazing. You inspire me, and I think everyone else feels the same. Let's give them a round of applause. Okay, you guys, I love the energy. We are going to run some mics to the table, so is everyone ready at their table to present their top ideas? Okay, we're going to start with this table. You guys are ready. You took your selfie. So you guys, they're going to read their question, and get ready to take some notes, because they're going to get to hear from the other tables and the discussion that they had, so there might be some good nuggets for you guys to write down. All right, take it away.
Okay, so our question was, how are you staying motivated in this market? And our number one, our first thought was enthusiasm equals sales. So you always just have to stay positive, even during the negative. Focus on positive gratitude was a really great one. Having a strong why and focus on your vision, not just what's happening around you, but really just stay focused on your vision. And ignore the doom and gloom. The media has a lot of doom and gloom, but as we know that there's closings happening every single day, regardless, and there always will be. And one of the things that we wanted to mention too is think about it. We think lending rates are high right now, but at one time they used to be 17, 18%, maybe higher. So those are the things that we really need to think about.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. All right, back here. Who's your... Good. And now once you've done this, you can totally do a video, right?
Right, video all day.
All right, so read your question to us and then share your top ideas.
Okay, so our question is, what have you done to provide a wow experience to your buyers and sellers? And I think pretty much to sum it up, our table, we just go hard for our clients. That's the bottom line. We talked about just being responsive and having communication. I just brought up that pretty much all of my deals have been miracle deals where I have to stay obsessed with every single one of them, and how, to provide best service, negotiation-wise, just every single step of the way. She brought up, just going all out for her inspections, and I brought up this beautiful girl. She just shows up at open houses and just brings amazing energy. She's just, researches these homes, even without her clients, and then she posts them on social media, and I've been following her, and it's just a really talented group of women and just a whole room of amazing people. So I think just bringing energy, our natural energy to the table really is like what's going to bring the wow. So.
Awesome. Yeah, there's no closing gift that's going to make up for a really bad experience, right?
Oh, they were talking about negotiating in goats for their clients, so we'll do whatever.
Good. Thank you, guys. All right, right up front here, you guys are next.
All right, so our question was, what ways are you using social media for lead generation, which perfectly ties into today's panel. The two major points that we really came up with was using social media to really create that network. So like everybody you meet, make sure you're like adding them to your Facebook friends list. Maybe there's a Facebook group you wanted to create, adding them on Instagram, because at the end of the day, you just want to stay in front of them and you're really trying to stay relevant. And then two, we're in that market where like people respect experts, but it's all about that know, like, and trust. So just do life on your socials. Like, it's not all about coming in weekly with just the market update. Maybe it's the new restaurant you're going to try out. Maybe it's the events going on in your community, or like a great neighborhood park you did a walk on. Like, just making sure that it's more than just real estate, because at the end of the day, they have to connect with you as a human.
That's awesome. Thank you, guys. All right, who's got the mic?
I do. Sorry, I was taking some last-minute notes there.
Love it.
Okay, so our question: what are the top sources you use to generate leads for your business? So we kind of found one common denominator, and that's relationships. So from there, you have relationships that you're nurturing and relationships that you're creating. So you're nurturing relationships with your past clients, with your friends and your family to get referrals. Get referrals that way. And then creating relationships on social media, and then networking. But networking at events like this, and also like at your kids' soccer games, like they were just saying, getting out there in your community and creating those relationships that way.
Thank you, guys.
Our question was, what are your best practices and advice you give to buyers in multiple offer situations? The number one was educate your clients on the average percentage over list to help them decide what they would like to offer. Ask them, would you be satisfied if you made this offer and didn't get it? Which is like balancing their logic and their emotions. Release earnest money, or make it non-refundable. Reveal intentions to the seller in regards to inspections, like by saying, we don't intend to offer or ask for repairs over X amount. Escalation clauses, single PDFs. Shortening contingencies. Yes, yeah, applause that, yeah. Someone brought up a unique offer amount to kind of stand out in the pool of offers that you receive. And then knowing what the seller wants by asking.
Love it. I love the questions that you asked at the beginning, too. Those are great. Go ahead, Kay.
So
Yeah, like you said, somebody had stand out by like making their offer of 444,000. Yeah. Yeah, it's just a stand out. There you go.
And I should have said this for all of you guys, but introduce yourself, because a lot of us know each other on social media, but are you guys like me? I'm really bad at recognizing people in person sometimes. So Megan Anderson, right? Kay, do you want to introduce yourself?
So my name's Kay Hauser. I'm with EXP. Collaboration group is with Real and Keller Williams. And so our question was, what books have you read that have impacted your career, business, or your personal growth? And we have Exactly What to Say by Phil Jones, The Mountain is You, Love is the Killer App, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a by Mark Hansen. So respectfully, yeah. So those are it.
I love it. You have, a year's worth of reading now, everyone. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Hi, I'm Nani Hernandez with the Manzi Real Estate Group, and our question is, what is working for you right now to find sellers who are motivated to sell in this market? So we have 6 different points. 1, letting people know what it is that we do, what we are up to, and what we can offer. 2 is reframing the conversation to highlight the advantages for the seller in a current market and redirect them away from disadvantages. 3, find out their why and their pinpoints and what is their timeline. 4, upselling free advice and information. 5 is living what you know and sharing knowledge. 6, have and nurture multiple legs of our business, and we use our previous success to breed even more success.
Thank you. Where are we going next?
Right up here.
Hello, my name is Grace. I'm on Carly Bordak's team. I'm her buyer's agent. So our question was, what client or local event has been most successful for you? If you haven't done any, what one is an event that you'd like to try? None of us at this table have really put on too many events or really gone to them. This is kind of our first one. So we kind of changed the question a little bit and kind of talked about some other things, but really kind of what we came down to, it was we're going to make our own client events, and get clients that way. So Carly, her kids are super involved in sports, so she makes that kind of her niche. She goes to the sporting activities, and then it just comes naturally. Hal was kind of talking about how she wants to go to the movies anyways, so she's going to make a client event out of it. Maybe the farmer's market, just things like that, and really just meeting our clients and connecting with people in our natural ways of life and what we enjoy to do.
Awesome. I love it. I know Megan Anderson did a really great movie event for her clients, so maybe you guys can connect on that. Awesome.
Hi, I'm Natalie. I'm also with the Manzi Real Estate Group. And so our question was, what should we be doing to work better together as co-brokers? What are some ways that we can better collaborate as a realtor community? And this was really a cool question because, I'm lucky enough to belong to like an amazing team, and I've been a realtor for about a hot second, literally like a month. And so it really resonated with me because there's a lot I don't know, even with my past breadth of experience. So it's wonderful to know that I have all of that support, but it's really to the broader real estate community as well, because it's a high emotion situation, buying or selling a house for our clients. And so if we can be able to listen to our clients, acknowledge that emotion, and diffuse that emotion for them and make them feel heard, then think about it. We have this amazing community, whether it's our teams or this larger community, that we can go to and collaborate and put our brains together and really come up with solutions. Because like my wonderful leader says, there's always solutions. We have to have a solutions mindset to be able to really serve our clients. And so we're not competing for business or we're not competing against each other. We might be competing for clients or whatever, but we're really working together to best serve the people in our community.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, the girls that were up here, I love them, and applaud them for sharing, because we're not in competition. And one thing that really stood out to me was just their mindset of abundance, and how even with Hal and your group, you know, letting realtors in and just being someone that's a connector. It always comes back. So I love that.
On that note, our core value here with KFA is collaboration over competition. And that's one of the things that we're, you know, really wanting to prioritize and create a space for us to be more of a community. Because I don't know about you guys, but I've been a realtor for 7 years, and I feel like there's been a lot of just, you know, you feel like you're against so many people, and there's not that community of people like-minded who want to contribute, want to share ideas. And so that's what we're out to build. So thank you guys.
Yeah, it's been great. Okay, last table, right?
So, I'm Victoria. I'm with Keller Williams. So our topic was staying in touch with past clients and getting referrals. The biggest thing that I got from this, from talking with the group, is that we keep in touch with our past clients. So whether it's connecting with them on social media or networking events, we kind of try to stay in front of them, check in with them, text them, call them on their birthday, that sort of thing. Networking events, especially networking with out-of-state agents, so you, like the Oregon people, so you can get referrals from them. And then joining local organizations and kind of staying involved with your community.
Thank you, guys. Do you want to? Okay, so that was, did you guys like that? Was that fun? You got to at least talk to some people in person. I think that prior to COVID, when I started in 2014, and I remember just going to so many different events, and I learned so much from some people in this room, and it really, really impacted my business and my mindset. And I think right now the biggest thing is making sure that we're staying positive and keeping our mindset focused. So I hope that by creating more community and getting to meet, you know, not on Instagram or Facebook, but in person, and putting a face to the name, it really helps me, and I hope it helps you guys, and we'll do more of these later this year.